The file landed on Park Min-jae's desk with a dull thud. Completely empty. His new bodyguard had no records, no history, no past. When he demanded answers, his security team could only shake their heads. But 3 days later, when 8 assassins breached his compound, Min-jae discovered why some people are deliberately wiped from the world's memory. 12 seconds. 8 bodies unconscious. One impossible question. Who was this woman? If you believe in recognizing talent no matter where it comes from, hit that subscribe button for Unfold Korean Story. Only those who judge unfairly will scroll past. Park Min-jae stood in his Seoul penthouse, frustration burning through his carefully maintained composure. He needed protection. Not the standard rent-a-guard types who looked intimidating but folded under real pressure. He needed someone extraordinary. "Sir, the situation is worse than we thought," his head of security said through the phone. "After the last 3 attempts on your life, no reputable firm wants the contract. Word on the street is that you're marked. Cursed, some are saying." Min-jae's grip tightened on his phone. Cursed. The word followed him everywhere lately. Business deals evaporating at the last moment. Technology failing around him. Colleagues whispering about bad fortune clinging to him like a shadow. "Forget the agencies," Min-jae said flatly. "I'll find someone myself." Across the city, Maya stood in a cramped office, watching her boss avoid eye contact. "Look, you're talented. Maybe too talented," the gym owner said, shuffling papers nervously. "But I've got 3 clients in the emergency room this month, all from training sessions with you. The insurance company is threatening to drop me." Maya said nothing. She'd heard variations of this speech before. "You don't fit in regular environments. Maybe try private security. Just not here." He slid an envelope across the desk. 2 weeks' pay. Consider it a reference. She took the money and left without a word. Outside, the afternoon heat pressed down on the crowded streets. Her phone buzzed with a message from her old mentor back in Nairobi. "Control first, force second. You'll find your place. Trust the process." Easy advice when you weren't broke and running out of options. "Boss, there's a situation ahead. Some kind of confrontation blocking traffic." Min-jae glanced up from his tablet in the back seat of his Mercedes. "How long?" "Unknown, sir." "Want me to investigate?" "Make it quick. I have a board meeting in 30 minutes. Through the tinted windows, Min-jae watched the scene unfold. An elderly man with a damaged food cart trembled before 3 men in expensive suits. Loan sharks by the look of them. 5 million won for the damage to my car, the lead shark was saying. "Pay now or we take it from your family. Please, my granddaughter needs surgery. I'm already drowning in medical bills." "Not my concern, old man." The elderly man stumbled backward, tears streaming. Min-jae reached for the door handle, old instincts flaring, but someone moved first. Maya stepped between them. Entered. Dangerous in a way that didn't need to announce itself. "Gentlemen, this man clearly can't pay what you're demanding. You're going too far." The lead shark turned with a sneer. "Who asked you? Walk away while you still can." Maya's voice remained level. "I'm asking nicely. Leave him alone." They laughed. "Nicely? You street trash don't understand power, do you?" He shoved her shoulder hard. "Wrong move." Maya's hand snapped out, caught his wrist, twisted it in a way that made him gasp. A fraction more pressure and she swept his legs. He hit the ground hard. The other 2 rushed her simultaneously. 4 seconds later, all 3 were on the pavement, clutching injured limbs and groaning. Maya hadn't even broken a sweat. From inside the Mercedes, Min-jae sat frozen. Then he pushed the door open. "You," he called out. "Come here." Maya turned, assessing him instantly. Designer suit, luxury vehicle, private security detail. Trouble wearing expensive cologne. Min-jae approached. "I need someone with your skills. How would you like a job?" Maya's eyebrow rose. "Doing what exactly?" "Personal protection. My bodyguard." That's oddly specific for a stranger on the street. Call it recognition of talent. The position pays exceptionally well. And the catch? Min-jae smiled without humor. The danger. Significant danger. Maya had no apartment, no savings, no prospects. And something about this man's directness told her he wasn't exaggerating. Danger doesn't bother me, she said finally. 20 minutes later, Min-jae was back at his headquarters. Phone pressed to his ear. I want everything you can find on that woman. Complete background check. 20 minutes. His second-in-command burst into the office. Sir, you can't be serious. You just hired someone random off the street. She disabled 3 armed extortionists in under 5 seconds. That's not random. That's trained. But sir, 20 minutes. Everything. 18 minutes later, his security team called back. Min-jae could hear the tension in their voices. Sir, we have a problem. Report. There's nothing. No digital footprint whatsoever. No national ID, no passport records, no employment history, no bank accounts, no social media presence. It's like she's a ghost. Min-jae felt ice slide down his spine. That's impossible. That's what we thought too. But sir, people don't just have 0 records. Not unless someone with serious resources erased them. Or unless she was never meant to exist officially in the first place. Min-jae stared out his window at Maya, who stood in the courtyard below, arms crossed, scanning the perimeter with professional awareness. Hire her officially, he said quietly. Sir, this is insanity. Do it. Maya stood alone, unaware that her entire world was about to shift. She didn't know the man who hired her controlled half of Seoul's underground economy. She didn't know that the people hunting her had just received her exact coordinates. And she had no idea that in 72 hours, 6 elite operatives would surround her in this very courtyard, and Park Min-jae would finally understand exactly what kind of weapon he'd just employed. If you believe people who prey on the vulnerable deserve to be stopped, subscribe to Unfold Korean Story and comment what time zone you're watching from. Only bullies and cowards stay silent. The next morning, Min-jae's intelligence team stood in his office looking pale. Well, he demanded. The lead analyst swallowed hard. Sir, we've run every database available. Government registries, immigration systems, international banking networks, even black market channels. And nothing. Complete void. No birth certificate, no travel history, no medical records, no educational background. She doesn't exist in any official capacity. Another analyst spoke up, voice shaking. Sir, people don't just have 0 footprint. Not unless someone deliberately erased them. Or unless they were created outside normal channels. The room fell silent. Min-jae stared at the empty report folder. When Maya walked through the gates that afternoon, every eye tracked her movement. Whispers erupted immediately. That's her. The boss's new hire. Heard he found her on the street. Literally. She doesn't look that special. Just another one of his rebellious phases. Look at her eyes though. Something's off. Maya ignored them all. She'd survived worse than gossip. But as she passed a cluster of senior enforcers, one muttered loud enough to be heard. A woman protecting the boss. We're finished. Maya stopped, turned, met his gaze directly. The man's smirk faltered. She didn't say a word, just held eye contact for 5 seconds that felt like hours. Then she walked on. The enforcer shivered despite the warm weather. That evening, Kang Dae-young arrived at headquarters unannounced. He was an allied organization leader. Wealthy, traditional, and arrogant. 3 bodyguards flanked him, all built like brick walls. Min-jae. Dae-young's voice echoed through the hall. I heard the most amusing rumor. They say you hired a woman as your personal bodyguard. Min-jae's expression remained neutral. The rumor is accurate. Dae-young laughed, the sound theatrical and mocking. Brother, I know you enjoy being unconventional, but this is absurd. A woman protecting Seoul's most powerful man. You'll be the laughingstock of the city. He gestured to his bodyguards. I brought you real protection. 3 of the finest fighters available. All men, all professionals. Stop this experiment before you embarrass yourself further. Maya stood near the wall, arms crossed, face unreadable. Dae-young turned to her with a condescending smile. Miss, no disrespect intended, But this world isn't suitable for you. Why don't you let the professionals handle things? Maya didn't move. Are you challenging me? Jung blinked. What? You brought 3 men to make a point. So make it. The room went silent. One of Dae-Young's bodyguards stepped forward. Miss, you're outnumbered. Which one do you want to face? Maya glanced at her watch. All 3. I'm on a schedule. The bodyguards exchanged glances, then laughed. She's overconfident, one muttered. Fine, Dae-Young said with a smirk. But don't cry about unfair odds when you lose. Maya moved to the center of the room. Begin. The fight lasted 11 seconds. The first bodyguard charged with a straight punch. Maya sidestepped, redirected his momentum, and used it to flip him onto his back. The second attacked from her left. She ducked under his swing, swept his legs, and he crashed into furniture. The third hesitated, then lunged desperately. Maya caught his arm mid-strike, twisted, and he dropped to his knees gasping. All 3 were on the ground, groaning. Maya straightened her jacket, barely winded. The room was dead silent. Dae-Young's face had drained of color. Min-jae stepped forward, voice cold. Still think she's unqualified. Min-jae called an emergency assembly that night. Every senior member gathered in the main hall. He stood at the front, Maya beside him. Effective immediately, Maya is my personal bodyguard. She answers only to me. Anyone with objections can leave now. Silence. No one moved, but Dae-Young stood at the back, fists clenched, face burning with humiliation. This is a mistake, Min-jae, he said through gritted teeth. You're creating enemies unnecessarily. Then I'll handle them. Dae-Young stormed out, his entourage following. As the doors slammed, Min-jae's lieutenant whispered, Sir, the Kong family won't forget this. They're hosting their annual gala tonight. They'll use it to humiliate you publicly. Min-jae glanced at Maya. Let them try. Later, Min-jae's staff prepared quarters for Maya inside the main compound. The whispers started immediately. She's moving into the main building. Only family and top executives live there. Exactly. By morning, half the staff believed Maya was Min-jae's secret lover. The other half thought she was a spy. When Maya overheard 2 guards speculating, she stopped in front of them. I'm here because of protocol. Personal bodyguards stay close to their principals. Nothing more. The guards nodded quickly and scattered, but Maya knew rumors wouldn't stop. She didn't care. She had work to do. As night fell, Min-jae stood on his balcony overlooking Seoul, whiskey in hand. Maya appeared silently beside him. The gala is tomorrow, he said without looking at her. Dae-Young and his allies will be there. They'll attempt to humiliate me, possibly worse. Then I'll be ready. Min-jae finally turned. You don't know what you've walked into. Maya met his gaze, unflinching. Neither do you. If you believe people judged by stereotypes deserve to prove themselves, like this video and comment, respect is earned. Only close-minded people won't. The next evening, Min-jae's security chief cornered Maya in the hallway. You can't wear tactical gear to the gala, he said bluntly. You'll draw too much attention. You need to blend in. Maya frowned. I'm security, not a guest. Exactly. Which means you need to look like you belong. The Kong family will be watching for any excuse to embarrass the boss. Don't provide ammunition. An hour later, Maya emerged wearing a sleek black gown with strategic design that allowed movement. Her hair was styled elegantly, and a discreet earpiece completed the look. She hated every moment of it. When Min-jae saw her, he paused mid-step. You clean up well. I feel ridiculous. You look dangerous. That's better. The gala hall glittered with crystal chandeliers and champagne. Seoul's elite mingled under the pretense of celebration, but everyone knew the truth. This was warfare dressed in silk and diamonds. The moment Maya entered beside Min-jae, conversation stopped. Whispers erupted like wildfire. Is that her? The woman he hired? She's actually stunning. Doesn't matter. A bodyguard is still a bodyguard. I heard she beat 3 men in seconds. Impossible. Just rumors. Maya ignored them all, her eyes scanning for threats. Within minutes, a swarm of businessmen descended on Min Jae, each desperate for his attention. Chairman Park, about that investment opportunity. Mr. Park, I have a proposal that could triple your returns. Min Jae, we need to discuss the partnership. Maya stepped forward, positioning herself between Min Jae and the crowd. Step back. 1 meter minimum. The men blinked in confusion. Excuse me. No one approaches within 1 meter of Chairman Park. Security protocol. An older man in an expensive suit bristled. Young lady, do you know who I am? No. I'm Park Sung-ho, Min Jae's uncle. Maya didn't budge. Then you should understand security protocols better than anyone, Uncle Sung-ho. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Sung-ho's face reddened. How dare you speak to me like that publicly? Min Jae stepped forward smoothly. Uncle, she's doing her job. Perhaps you could respect that. Sung-ho glared at both of them before storming off, muttering. 20 minutes later, Min Jae's extended family cornered him near the bar. Sung-ho led the charge, flanked by Min Jae's cousin and several other relatives. Min Jae, this has gone too far, Sung-ho said sharply. Hiring that woman. You're disgracing the Park family name. She's more qualified than anyone you've suggested. She's a nobody, his cousin spat. An outsider with no background, no credentials, no loyalty. For all we know, she's a spy sent to infiltrate our family. Maya stood silently behind Min Jae, arms crossed. Sung-ho pointed at her. This woman threatens the family fortune. You're trusting a stranger with your life while pushing away your own blood. My own blood, Min Jae said coldly, has been trying to undermine me since my father died. The accusation hung in the air. Maya spoke for the first time, voice calm. If I may, Uncle Sung-ho, you claim I'm unqualified and dangerous. Yet 10 minutes ago, you tried to bypass security to get close to Chairman Park. If I were truly a spy, wouldn't that make you reckless? And if I'm truly dangerous, wouldn't provoking me be foolish? Sung-ho's mouth opened and closed. Furthermore, Maya continued, you claim to care about family loyalty, yet you're publicly undermining your nephew at a gala hosted by his rivals. Interesting strategy. Min Jae's cousin stepped forward, furious. How dare! She has a point, Min Jae said quietly. This conversation is over. As the night wore on, tension simmered beneath the surface. Maya never left Min Jae's side, constantly scanning for threats. Then she saw it. A server approaching from the left, moving too quickly, hand reaching into his jacket. Maya moved instantly. She intercepted him, grabbed his wrist, and twisted. A small device clattered to the floor, designed to ignite and cause chaos. The server yelped in pain as Maya forced him to his knees. The crowd gasped. He was targeting Chairman Park, Maya said loudly. But Sung-ho was faster. She attacked an innocent server. This woman is out of control. She's paranoid and dangerous. Several guests murmured agreement. Min Jae knelt beside the device, examined it, then held it up. This is a remote incendiary trigger. Whoever hired this man wanted me dead. Silence. The server, realizing he was caught, started babbling. I was paid. I didn't know who. They just said to get close. Security dragged him away. Min Jae's cousin sneered. Convenient timing. Almost like it was staged to make her look heroic. Maya met his gaze. Believe what you want. I did my job. An hour later, Min Jae and Maya left early. The convoy moved through Seoul's dark streets in tense silence. Then the lead car exploded. Tires screeched as their vehicle swerved to avoid the wreckage. Min Jae's driver slammed the brakes. Get down! Maya shouted. Figures emerged from the shadows. Silent, masked, moving with military precision. But they weren't surrounding Min Jae's car. They were surrounding hers. One locked eyes with Maya through the tinted window. Then he spoke, voice distorted through a mask. Shadow 7. You've been located. Maya's blood turned to ice. Min Jae turned to her, confusion and alarm in his eyes. What did he call you? But before she could answer, the attackers struck. If you believe people sabotaged by jealousy and greed deserve justice, subscribe to Unfold Korean Story and comment, "Justice prevails." Only backstabbers and cowards stay silent. The attackers moved like ghosts. Maya threw open the car door and engaged them before Min-jae could react. 5 masked operatives, all armed with suppressed weapons and military equipment. They weren't thugs. They were professionals. And they weren't after Min-jae. Maya fought with lethal precision, disarming 2 within seconds, but they kept coming, coordinated and relentless. One operative lunged with a tranquilizer dart. She dodged but barely. "Fall back," Min-jae shouted to his men. "Secure the perimeter." But the operatives ignored them completely. Their focus was singular. After a brutal 2-minute fight, Maya managed to incapacitate all 5. The last one collapsed at her feet, mask torn, blood seeping from a shoulder wound. He looked up at her with recognition in his eyes. "Shadow 7, he whispered. "The program wants you back." Then he passed out. Maya stood frozen, chest heaving, her hands trembling for the first time since Min-jae had met her. "Shadow 7. Min-jae repeated slowly. "What program? Who are these people?" Maya didn't answer. She just stared at the unconscious operative. "Secure these men," Min-jae ordered his guards. "And get her inside. Now." The next morning an emergency meeting was called. Every senior lieutenant gathered in the conference room. Tension crackled in the air. Min-jae sat at the head of the table. Maya stood silently behind him. "We were attacked last night," Min-jae began. "Not by rivals. Not by the Kong family. By something else entirely. Something military." Murmurs rippled through the room. Then the door opened. An elderly man entered, moving slowly with a cane. His name was Lee Jin-woo, a retired intelligence consultant. He took one look at Maya and froze. His face went pale. His hand trembled on his cane. "Impossible," he whispered. Everyone turned to look at him. "Consultant Lee," Min-jae asked, "do you know something?" Lee's eyes never left Maya. "I've seen her before. Years ago, in Beijing." The room went deathly silent. "There was a program," Lee continued, voice shaking. "Classified off-book. They called it Ghost Protocol. Experimental operatives trained to be invisible, untraceable, perfect weapons." He pointed at Maya. "She looks like one of them." "Shadow 7. Gasps erupted around the table. "What happened to the program?" Min-jae demanded. Lee shook his head. "It was dismantled. The operatives were erased from records, from databases, from existence itself. Those who tried to leave were hunted down, eliminated." He looked at Maya with something between fear and pity. "If she's still alive, it means she's been running. And if they found her here." He turned to Min-jae. "You've just made yourself a target." Maya said nothing during the entire meeting. When it ended, the lieutenants filed out, whispering nervously. Some cast fearful glances at her. Others looked at Min-jae as if he'd invited disaster. Only Min-jae and Maya remained. "Is it true?" he asked quietly. Maya's jaw tightened. "I don't owe you explanations. You do if it puts my organization at risk." She turned to face him. And for the first time, Min-jae saw something break in her eyes. Fear. Raw, unfiltered fear. "I left that life behind," she said, voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't think they'd find me. I thought I was careful enough." "How long have you been running?" 3 years. Min-jae exhaled slowly. "And now they know exactly where you are." Maya nodded. "Because of me." Midnight came with silence. Too much silence. Maya stood at the window of her quarters, scanning the darkened compound. Something felt wrong. Then the lights went out. Emergency systems kicked in, bathing the headquarters in dim red light. Maya grabbed her weapon and moved into the hallway. They were already inside. Figures in black tactical gear moved through the corridors like shadows. No gunfire, no alarms, just silent surgical precision. Maya engaged the first operative in hand-to-hand combat, disarming him within seconds. But two more appeared behind her. They weren't trying to kill her. They were trying to capture her. Shadow 7, one said through a distorted voice modulator. The program wants you back. You belong to us. I belong to no one, Maya snarled. She fought like a cornered animal. Vicious, desperate, precise. But they kept coming. Then a gunshot rang out. Min-jae appeared at the end of the hallway, weapon raised, flanked by his personal guards. She's under my protection, he said coldly. You'll go through me first. The operatives paused, assessing. One spoke into a comm device. Target is protected by local assets. Recommend tactical withdrawal. Negative came the response. Retrieve Shadow 7. Eliminate obstacles. The operatives raised their weapons. Min-jae didn't flinch. Then we have a problem. The firefight that followed was brutal and brief. Min-jae's men were skilled, but these operatives were something else entirely. Maya fought alongside Min-jae, covering his blind spots, moving in perfect synchronization despite never having trained together. Within 3 minutes, the operatives retreated, vanishing as silently as they'd come. But they left behind a message spray-painted on the wall in red. You can't protect her forever. The next morning, Min-jae's intelligence team delivered devastating news. Sir, we found the breach. Someone inside the organization has been feeding information to an outside entity. They knew Maya's location. They knew your schedule. They knew everything. Min-jae's fists clenched. Who? We don't know yet, but the leak is coming from someone with high-level access. Suspicion spread through the headquarters like poison. No one trusted anyone. And Maya knew it was her fault. She found Min-jae on the rooftop that evening, staring out at the city. I should leave, she said quietly, before more people get hurt because of me. Min-jae didn't turn around. You think running will solve this? It's what I've been doing for 3 years. It's kept me alive. And kept you alone. Maya said nothing. Min-jae finally turned to face her. You're not leaving. Not until we find out who betrayed us. And not until we finish what they started. This isn't your fight. You became my bodyguard. That makes it my fight. Maya met his gaze, searching for doubt. She found none. They won't stop coming, she warned. Then we'll be ready. If you stand against organizations that treat people like property and tools, like this video and comment, everyone deserves freedom. Only those who support control and manipulation stay silent. Dawn broke over Seoul with ominous silence. Then the sound of engines shattered it. Maya bolted upright, instantly alert. Through the window she saw them. Dozens of black vehicles forming a perimeter around headquarters. This wasn't a raid. This was a siege. She grabbed her weapon and burst into Min-jae's office. We need to evacuate now. Min-jae stood at the window, watching the convoy with cold eyes. No. They're not here to negotiate. They're here to take me by force. If you stay, they'll kill everyone in this building. Then they'll have to go through all of us. Min-jae turned to face her. I don't run from fights, especially not in my own home. Before Maya could argue further, the front gates exploded. 6 figures emerged from the smoke, moving with the same lethal precision Maya once possessed. Elite operatives, Ghost Protocol trained. They walked through Min-jae's guards like they were children, disarming and incapacitating without breaking stride. Maya's blood ran cold. She knew exactly what they were capable of, because she used to be one of them. Maya stepped into the courtyard alone. The 6 operatives stopped, forming a semicircle around her. Shadow 7, the lead operative said, voice distorted behind a mask. 3 years is long enough. The program wants you back. I'm not going back. You don't have a choice. You belong to us. Maya's hands clenched into fists. I belong to no one. They moved as one. The fight that followed was nothing like the brief skirmishes before. These operatives knew her fighting style because they'd been trained identically. Every move she made they anticipated. Every strike they countered. But Maya had something they didn't. 3 years of freedom. 3 years of remembering what it meant to be human. She fought with precision but also restraint. She could have killed them. Her training demanded it. But she refused to become the weapon they wanted her to be. One by one, she dismantled their attacks. A disarmed wrist here, a swept leg there, pressure points that incapacitated without killing. The courtyard became a blur of motion. Black gear against black gear, skill against skill. When the last operative fell, Maya stood alone, breathing hard, bruised but standing. Behind her, Min-jae and his entire organization watched in stunned silence. They had just witnessed something beyond human capability. Min-jae's men secured the operatives, pulling off their masks. The lead operative spat blood, glaring up at Maya. "You can't run forever, Shadow 7. They'll send more. They always send more." "Then tell them to send better," Maya said coldly. Min-jae knelt beside the operative. "Who sent you?" The man laughed bitterly. "You think you're protecting her. You don't even know what she is. What she's done. Then enlighten me." The operative's eyes shifted to Maya, then back to Min-jae. Shadow 7 was deployed 3 years ago on a classified mission in Seoul. Her target wasn't an enemy. It was a protection detail. She was assigned to protect a high-ranking Korean official from assassination. Min-jae's jaw tightened. "What official?" "Park Jae-sung. Your father." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Min-jae slowly stood, staring at Maya. "What is he talking about?" Maya's face had gone pale. I didn't know. "The mission failed," the operative continued. "Your father was killed despite her protection. The entire Ghost Protocol was deemed compromised and erased. Every operative, every record. Shadow 7 was the only survivor. Because I ran," Maya whispered, her voice breaking. "I ran instead of finishing the mission. I failed." The courtyard fell silent. Min-jae walked toward Maya slowly. She stood rigid, waiting for anger, for blame, for rejection. "You were sent to protect my father," he said quietly. "Yes. And the mission failed." "Yes. But you survived." Maya's hands trembled. "I survived by running. By abandoning my assignment. By choosing myself over. By choosing to live," Min-jae interrupted. "By refusing to be erased like the others." Maya looked up at him, eyes glistening with unshed tears. "For 3 years I've had no name, no home, no identity. I've been a ghost, moving from place to place, never staying long enough to be found, never letting anyone close enough to care." Her voice cracked. "I thought if I just kept running, kept surviving, it would mean something. But it doesn't. I failed your father. Failed my unit. I failed everyone who ever trusted me." Min-jae stepped closer. "You didn't fail. You lived. Against an organization that wanted you erased. You survived. That takes more strength than any mission. I don't deserve. You protected me from sabotage. You fought off trained operatives twice. You stood beside me when my own blood tried to tear me down." His voice was firm, unwavering. "You didn't fail my father, Maya. The system failed both of you. And now you're here protecting me. That is enough." Maya's breath hitched. For 3 years, she'd carried the weight of failure alone. Now, someone was telling her it wasn't her burden to bear. Hours later, after the operatives had been transferred to a secure location and the compound was being repaired, Min-jae found Maya standing on the rooftop balcony. The sunrise painted Seoul in golden crimson. "They'll come again," Maya said without turning around. "The organization doesn't give up. Let them come. Your family still wants me gone. Your enemies will use me against you. I'm a liability,